This is Michael Carr presenting a rolling shutter test of the Aeroflex Alexa 65 camera. So this is how we shoot the test chart. Joseph Goldstone at Aeroflex in Burbank did this for us. And you'll notice in our test, he shot many different variations, as you can see here, various frame rates, shutter angles, but I've only done the test on this most common example, which is the Alexa 65 open gate, 24 frames per second with 172 degree shutter. As in the Alexa XT, which we tested a few years ago, if you change these parameters, the rolling shutter is likely to change. But if you take a look here, this is actually cutting to the chase. This is the final value, 0.0156 seconds of delay, and that's similar to the XT in its standard mode. So if you take a look at this edge right here, it's got a skew going on because of the rolling shutter. So here it's skewing one way, and then when the camera changes direction, right here you can see it'll skew the other way. So after solving for all these points, now we'll do a center so we can see this a little bit better. So what I'm going to do is turn off the rolling shutter correction in the viewport. I have this hotkey to R, so I'll just use the hotkey. So here we see the before and after. So here's without rolling shutter correction. You can see that this vertical line is waving around, and if you've got this rolling shutter going on, you will not be able to get a good track because you'll get camera pops because this distortion is unexpected by the solver. But now I'm going to turn the rolling shutter correction on, and you'll notice it's basically all fixed. Although, of course, as always in Equalizer, it will only be fixed, repaired for a certain distance. So right here, you've got the content distance. Because of parallax effects with translations, the driving at nighttime in the countryside with a picket fence effect, you can only have a perfect correction at a certain distance, which you can change at the content distance correction. So anyway, we can see right here, the skew is fixed. And if we go to F2 and turn on the guides, again, we can see here with the 2D tracking guides how much skewing you get. But again, this is typical for CMOS cameras. The old CCD cameras didn't have any rolling shutter at all, but the quality isn't nearly as high as the modern CMOS cameras. But CMOS cameras, unless you've got a global shutter, will always have a little bit of this effect. If you've got a consumer camera like your smartphone, this rolling shutter effect will be very strong. And if you've got even if you've got like a Canon 5D, the effect will be strong. And when you go to a professional camera like the Alexa, the effect is very reduced, but not eliminated, even on the really fancy models. So since it's not eliminated, this before and after here, since it's not eliminated, you need to use the rolling shutter correction in your match with software. Also here, when we use the rolling shutter, you'll see the standard skewing. If you look at this corner, it's moving around. We don't have any animated distortion. The only animation, if you look here or here, is because of the rolling shutter skewing. So if you've got a lot of panning, the top will be stationary and the bottom of the frame will move around. And if you've got tilting, the distortion for rolling shutter will look a little bit different in your grid warped pass. It'll sort of move up and down here, and if you've got a diagonal move, it'll be some combination. So again, for this particular common configuration, we tracked all these dots, nice symmetrical printed chart, And this is a pretty typical figure for rolling shutter for an Alexa XT or for a Alexa 65, which is 0.014 or 0.015 seconds.